Sudan is facing numerous challenges in the wake of the military ouster of longtime President Omar al-Bashir, both in its governance as a society. Protesters continue to demand a swift transition to a civilian government after decades of military rule. That very demand raises the questions of how those shaping Sudan's future will avoid past mistakes, a question that is at the center of this week's Plugged In with Greta Van Susteren. His viewer is Raffaele with more.
Protesters in the streets of Sudan may have been overjoyed, but the civilian government they are demanding is not in the immediate future. Ousted Sudanese leader Omar al-Bashir faces indictment by the International Criminal Court, charged with directing a genocide against civilians in Sudan's Darfur region. The man who now heads Sudan's interim military council, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah Burhan, has pledged to having a complete civilian government. Foreign policy analyst Kelsey Lilly says any transition to a civilian government will require strong diplomacy by the United States and others.
The Sudanese want the state-sponsored terrorism designation lifted, and that's because not only it has the security element to it, it suggests that they aren't sponsoring terrorism anymore, but it also unlocks really desperately needed debt relief. And so that will be something that is on the table when this new government is constituted, and the U.S. will continue some of its engagement.
Many of the Sudanese who were instrumental in the protests in Sudan were women. One who became an iconic figure is Ala Salah, a 22-year-old engineering and architecture student. She became an internet sensation when a photo of her atop a car surrounded by protesters went viral. Salah received death threats and hate mail for her role in the uprising, yet remained defiant. The role of women in the protests is an encouraging sign, says Dr. Sarah Abdel-Jalil, who heads the Sudan Doctors Union in Britain.
I think women came across very strong because there has been a lot of suppression and they have been sort of hidden away intentionally. It's very I think, positive to see that the 30 years have not destroyed the Sudanese women power and ability to fight.
On April 16, Sudan's military transferred Bashir to a prison in Khartoum, where he is reportedly being held in solitary confinement. Robert Raffaele, VOA News, Washington.